The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who just today ran for his life from the skeleton machine monster of a cat. Welcome, Jacob.
Wow. If it was Drew, yeah, I'll be running too. I will be running too. Why, thank you. Let me use my co-host, a man who, this is not related to the movie, but I'm going to use it anyway. Loves pickle juice in the morning. Welcome, Drew.
Oh, my word. Not in the morning. I will say that. The vinegar's a little tough, a little much for me, but yeah. This all comes from last night, folks.
Yeah.
Inside jokes, no one's going to get them.
Yeah.
Tonight, however, we are reviewing a film that shares its name with another film
Yes.
that a lot of people got confused back when I worked at Walmart and bought the wrong one, and much to their dismay did not realize it until after they had opened this movie.
Oh, no.
Put it in the player
No.
and wondering why Sackboy was running around, because that game was out by this time.
Yeah.
We're reviewing 9. No, not 9 anything specific. The movie is actually
Not
just
German
called
9, no, but
999. Oh,
the
yes,
number
yes,
9.
yes.
Yeah, the number 9.
Yes, just 9.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're reviewing tonight.
Yes.
A movie I had never seen before because I saw the cover of this originally and went, this looks a little too cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for me. So, yeah, why don't we just go ahead and jump into our spoiler-free thoughts?
Yeah.
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
As stated, this was my first viewing,
Mm-hmm.
and I still don't know what I watched. I kind of get what I watched.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm sitting here going, I got the plot.
Mm-hmm.
I think the animation's good. Don't get me wrong. Even for this time period, because this was still a little, we weren't quite to the level we would be at, say, even a year after this came out.
Yeah, 2009.
Yeah, this came out in 2009. In 2010-11, the quality seemed to have a major jump. I don't know why. But this one, it's just the storytelling gets a little too artsy for me. Like I said, I still don't know what the point of this was about. I can't figure out the central theme of this. Family? Maybe. But even then,
It's not even really about
not
family.
really. War is evil? Maybe? I don't know. World War II sucked for everybody?
It's not even really a World War II. It's kind of like a...
Yeah, because it's after World War II.
Yeah, but it's kind of like an amalgamation of things. That just,
Apparently, it's in France. I did not find out until I was doing my research and found out that church is actually supposed to be Notre Dame. I'm sorry, Disney did it better.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, it's not a bad film. It's just a weird film, and it's not one I'm going back to. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
At the risk of telegraphing my final rating during the spoiler-free section, it's not for me.
Okay, fair enough.
What are your thoughts?
Again, like Drew, this was my first viewing. I watched it on HBO. Odd story.
Or Max. It's not.
It's on
HBO.
Max. On Max. So, to my severe pleasure. So, I was under the understanding that the subscription I had to Max was already suspended.
Mm-hmm.
So, I asked my good friend to give me a little hand with something about that. So we came over to my apartment, and it's like, oh, okay, so we're going to do this and this. So you boot up the Max app on the PlayStation 4, and be like,
signed right in.
It's signed in.
I still say you were clicking HBO Max instead of Max, because it'd probably been that long since you had to open the app.
Probably.
But I don't know if that's what happened.
Maybe.
Stuff happens. I don't know.
It does. But I was able to watch it on Max, so it's available there if you are subscribed to Max.
Indeed it is. And I will say, if you were one of the HBO Max people and was annoyed with the app as much as I was, the app is better.
Mhm.
If you're just annoyed at Warner Brothers, it's also understandable.
Yeah, fair. So, oddly enough, I really enjoyed this film. It was very artistic, and being an
Yeah,
artist,
it was artistic.
Very artist guy like myself. I enjoyed the artistic ways of storytelling and the way it had this kind of camaraderie where you don't know each other and you're trying to like undermine each other in some ways, and the professor's past and what's going on and why is this and why is this. I found this intriguing. So I found this story and animation and character, not all the characters, most of the characters we really don't know, but I really enjoyed this film, and I might actually try to go back and rewatch this. So this is going to be an interesting review.
Yes, it does sound like that's going to be the case. So in that case, why don't we go ahead and get into spoiler-filled?
Yes.
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the film 9. Listener discretion is advised. I think we said 2009, but that's when the short came out, I believe. So it may be 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
It should make more sense because that's be when I was in the electronics department. But anyway.
Yeah.
9 was written and directed by and based on the short film by Shane Acker.
Mm-hmm.
And there is not a lot else I can pull for him, unfortunately. And I say that because he's actually got a pretty decent IMDb, but there's nothing. This is like his only major motion picture he's ever directed. Everything else he's directed has been shorts.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 1 or 2 little writing credits, not much. The thing he is listed under the most, I believe, was in the animation department because he did work for a bunch of different animation studios.
Yes.
But that's about the best I could find for him.
Okay. So, just for clarification, the short came out in 2005.
Okay.
Yeah, so the film came out in 2009.
Okay, I see my problem with how it's listed in the trivia, so never mind. I was wrong.
It happens.
It happens to the best of us.
You live
even me every once in a while.
You live and learn, you don't get depends.
Or loves.
Or loves. Well, go to the gas station, loves. It's not bad either.
Anyway, it was also written by Pamela Petier and Ben Gluck. Getting into the cast for this, we have Christopher Plummer playing number 1.
Mm-hmm.
He was Captain George Von Trapp in The Sound of Music.
Yes.
Martin Landau played number 2, and he was Bela Lugosi in Ed Wood, the making of Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah. That was a... who did that movie? That was
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. Yeah, Tim Burton did that film.
But it's about the making of one of the the most famous bad film.
Yeah.
By Ed Wood, it's really about him directing it.
Yeah.
But I watched the movie once and I enjoyed it. John C. Reilly played number 5. 3 and 4 did not have voice actors. And he was Ralph in Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes. Very much recognized his voice.
Crispin Glover played number 6. And he was George McFly in Back to the Future.
Now, wasn't six, right?
Yes, 6.
The one who's obsessed with is. Am I saying that right? What did 6 do? I can't remember what he did.
6 was the artist.
That's right. That's who I thought that was. And I kept thinking it was like, and you said, Crispin Glover.
McFly.
That totally makes sense with that actor and that character. Makes sense.
For our second week in a row, Jennifer Connelly was number 7. And, of course, as you remember from last week, she was Sarah in Labyrinth.
And a bunch of other stuff.
Fred Tatasciore was number 8. And the radio announcer.
Really?
And most recently, he played Lord Zed in Power Rangers Cosmic Fury.
Ah, okay.
But we here on the Cellcast know him better as Lieutenant Shax in Star Trek Lower Decks.
Of course.
Elijah Wood played number 9. And of course, he was Frodo Baggins in The Lord of the Rings.
Stupid hobbits.
Alan Oppenheimer played the scientist. And he played the Blob in Pride of the X-Men.
True, but also he did a very famous character from the 1980s. He-Man! Oh, no, I'll get you this time!
Admittedly, I did not get that far down this list. I just noticed he did technically play a character recently that was King Grayskull.
Yeah, he played...
If you're going to tell me that is Skeletor...
No, it's not.
Okay.
No.
Tom Kane played the Dictator, and when they can't get Frank Oz, he plays Yoda in Star Wars.
Yeah. Ooh. Mm-hmm.
And Helen Wilson was the newscaster.
Okay.
She had an uncredited role as the caretaker in the pilot of Star Trek Voyager, the person that caused Voyager to get lost in the Delta Quadrant at the beginning of the series.
Okay.
But mainly she's known for being a props maker and costume seamstress on a lot of different shows and movies.
Interesting.
So this was more than likely more of a cameo for her.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing.
Nice.
And I just now realized I forgot something incredibly important.
Oh, no.
I didn't do Kingdom Hearts Connections.
Oh, how sad.
So I would ask you how many Kingdom Hearts Connections there are, but you already know because I just had to cut out my searching. Yeah. And that was Fred Tatasciore, who was number 8 in this. And he played both Kevin Flynn and Clue in Kingdom Hearts during the grid level, which was based on Tron Legacy in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Brain fart there. So yeah, that's what I got on the cast list. What do we got in info and stuff?
All right, so info and stuff. Let me go back to my notes. Notes. Wrong way. All right. So info and stuff. It is an IMDb score of 7.0 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes. I could not find that at the current time, but I'm pretty sure someone will probably pop that in the notes somewhere. It's available to watch on Max. Production was through Focus Features. Relativity Media.
Relativity.
Thank you. Relativity. Thank you. Media. Lux Animation and distributed by Focus Features. Had a runtime of 1 hour and 19 minutes. It was released on September 9th, 2009. That's a theme going on there.
So 9 has a Rotten Tomatoes score on the thermometer, however you say that?
Thermometer?
57%, with an audience score of 56%.
Oh, so it's run of the mill.
It's middle.
Yeah. Middle
of the score both ways.
Agreed. All right, so box office. It had an estimated budget of $30 million. Its opening weekend on September 13th, 2009, here in the United States and Canada, was $10.7 million. Its overall gross in the United States and Canada was $31.7 million. It didn't make its budget. It made its budget, but what is that? Oh, come on. Like advertising and that kind of stuff. Be like, yeah, the
marketing?
Marketing. Thank you. That's what we're looking for. Marketing. Its international gross was $48.4 million. So it didn't do that exactly well. So home release. The film was released on DVD and Blu-ray for the first time on December 29th, 2009. 3.5 months after the film was released. The DVD and Blu-ray contain special features such as the director's Sean Acker's original 2009 short film of the same name, cast interviews and commentary by the filmmakers. There was a sequel in talks, but it didn't go anywhere. Literally.
I'm guessing it would have been called 10.
Maybe. Because there was talks that the film would possibly have our characters either do they try to...
I have no idea where they'd go after this.
Yeah. Be
be honest.
According to the director, that it be like it's kind of left open, but what he said, it was kind of left open. So the possibility of they could try to the Earth is starting to come back from all the gas that was released, and so either do they adapt to it or do they go somewhere else? So that was the general thought. But the film never, there was never a script or anything. It was just more an idea, and yeah, never went anywhere. So yeah, we're not gonna get a 9-2 or a 10, whatever you want to call it.
9-2. What is this, Final Fantasy?
You never know.
Anyways.
So yeah, that's all I have for info and stuff.
All right, getting into the summary. A ragdoll that awakens in a post-apocalyptic future holds the key to humanity's survival. Getting into the trivia for this, because apparently I didn't write down the whole plot, but that's fine. There wasn't much. I mean, there is a plot, but
there's a plot.
Trivia for this: Shane Acker first made 9 as a 10-minute short film while he was still at UCLA. I'm going to say he messed up. It should have been 9 minutes. It was nominated for Best Animated Short at the Oscars, and although it didn't win, Acker was offered the chance to expand it into a feature film. It follows the same basic plot, but more characters have been added. They now have the ability to speak, and the reason for the world's destruction is explained in more detail. The clock on the Notre Dame church in the film is stuck at the time 9:09.
Oh, that's just ironic.
Oh, wait, just wait. Alan Oppenheimer plays the scientist responsible for the destruction of the world.
Yes.
So it seems fitting that he's the cousin of J. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb.
Surprise, surprise to nobody.
Anyway.
So the Lord of Destruction is related to the man who
created the atomic bomb.
Created
that literally ended World War II.
Yes.
Just in a different country.
Yes.
Than this took place.
Too funny.
A canny choice of the marketing department was to give the film a release date of September 9th, 2009. 999.
Wow.
After they retrieved 2's body, they place the coin from 1 over the eyes of 2 as they send his body into the water. In Greek mythology, you had to place payment on the body to pay the ferryman to cross the river Styx to the underworld.
Wow. Yeah, that was good. Love that scene.
All 9 of the creations are never in one particular place together in the whole movie until the funeral scene at the end, and even then, 5 of them are dead and ghosts.
True.
And that's what I've got for trivia for this.
Wow.
I could have gotten some more, but I was trying to keep it short.
Short and sweet and to the 9.
Pretty much. So, what's your first like for this film?
My first like of this film, it's very dark. It's a different kind of animated film for kids, which is not for kids.
I'm not sure this is made for kids.
Yeah.
This is definitely more teenager.
Yeah, true, but it'd be like
at the youngest.
Typically in America, you have people the notion that animation is for children. So
we have repeatedly said this is not the case.
I agree, but that stereotype still kind of exists. It's still in the air in some ways. So be like, this is a very, very extremely dark film. Like, I don't think there's a real bright spot in it at any fashion or form. But like,
not really.
No, it'd be like it's kind of doom and gloom the entire time. And I love that approach of a film where you're willing to do something different. You're willing to take a chance with the story and to like push the boundaries with doing a different type of story from a different angle, and you're doing something that's kind of after a post-apocalyptic story. And I just enjoy that. I found that very, very interesting. So what's your first like?
My first like for this is the post-apocalyptic landscape.
Ah, okay.
Because it is, while it is a bunch of ruins, there's a bunch of garbage everywhere. It feels, strangely enough, even though it's meant to display almost a chaotic destruction, it feels handcrafted.
It does.
In a good way. It really does feel like you're looking out across a post-apocalyptic landscape. That kind of goes without saying. But it feels like this is a real place that you're seeing from the point of view of these little Sackboy guys. And it's real cool when you're watching out there across there and you see like the factory, the building, it's the factory out there.
Yeah.
And it seems like it both at the same time feels like that's where you need to go, and also that is Mount Doom.
Yeah.
You really want to be careful in the villain's lair. And if you can tell it from the very beginning, why Frodo Baggins couldn't tell, I have no idea. Because, honestly, he should not have taken the knob to Mordor.
No.
Because that's what that was a knob. But with buttons. A knob with buttons.
A knob with buttons.
And alchemical symbols all over it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really did like the environment, I guess is what it comes down to. I thought the environment was very well done. It felt like a real trash heap of a town, for lack of a better term. Yeah. Since apparently it's in Paris.
It is in Paris.
Not the prettiest I've ever seen Paris.
No.
But, yeah. What's your second like?
My second like just tail ends right off of yours is the post-apocalyptic landscape of this. It's beautifully done. It's a place you don't want to be. It's not the Paris you want to go to for your vacation or your honeymoon. You want to avoid Paris at all costs, or this fictional version of Paris. The hellscape of like the ruins of the fact that we do see, corpses. We see dead people.
Yeah.
I think in the first scene, we see a dead body. It's just like, oh my gosh, what the heck happened? And over the course of the story...
The amount of corpses on the ground in this film is the primary reason I don't think this movie was made for kids.
No.
So you go and take your kids in there, the first thing they're going to see is a skeleton, and they're going to go, maybe this is the wrong film.
Maybe.
Not that you'd know, you're off singing Mamma Mia about five theaters down. I'm guessing Mamma Mia was out around this time. I didn't actually look up what movies were playing.
Who knows? But I enjoy the landscape of this movie. It's thrillingly frightening, and just the overall atmosphere of the movie. What our characters are in. Like 9, he doesn't know what's going on. He's just woken up. And he's just like, what's going on? He has to explore this strange new world. And I'm not talking Star Trek.
But he's not really seeking out new life or new civilization.
Well, he isn't.
But he is boldly going where no Sackboy has gone before.
Touche. But yeah, just the environment, the apocalyptic landscape of ruin, destruction, and decay. And it's just like, it's very interesting. Again, kind of arguing back to my first one, where... this is an interesting story because they go to places where you don't really expect them to go. Like, humanity's dead as far as we understand, and all it is little sack people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I find all of this very intriguing. What's your second?
My second like for this is the design of the machines.
Ah, okay.
From the scariness that is the Beast.
Yes.
AKA Skeleton Cat machine. To the pterodactyl.
Oh gosh, yeah.
To, I can't remember what the third one was. I cannot remember what the third one was.
I am drawing a blank as well.
But then the factory, basically.
Oh, yeah.
The original monster that he awakens. That thing is like simultaneously impressive and scary at the same time.
Absolutely.
And strangely enough, beautiful in a way also, because you can tell it was, unlike the other monsters that we see, this was crafted by a human. All the others were crafted by this monster working the best it can with, I said this monster, this machine working with what parts were available. And surprisingly, it does a good job, especially with skeletons that should be crumbling by this point.
Well, it's
though we're not really given a clear idea how long it's been since whatever weapon destroyed everything happened.
Yeah, but this device itself is designed to replicate things.
Yeah.
It's designed to create life where there is no life. And that's where we get the... Kind of, but the same... Yeah.
There gets to some weird parts.
Oh, yeah, agreed.
So yeah, that's my second. Like, what's your third?
Skeledad.
Skeledad?
Alan Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
His whole idea, because he's tasked by the hold on, let me get it right. Dictator by the dictator to create this machine and to bring life to things, and he winds up, because it's revealed in the latter part of the movie that all of our little sack people are actually bits and parts of the scientist's soul, and number 9 was the last one that took the remainder of his soul.
Yeah. So when I looked it up, it explained what each part was. Forgive me for not remembering each one, but 9 was supposed to be his humanity.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, because like you can tell with each variation from 1 to 9, the ones we meet, be like it's the timid one, the fearful one, the brave one, the muscle,
the artistic one, the ones that are good as projectors.
Yes. The inventors, I guess.
Yeah. Or archivists.
Archivists, yeah.
Researchers.
There we go.
He's a scientist. He has to research. Those two are the research part of his head.
Yeah.
Maybe his curiosity and his intelligence.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, I found that really fascinating once you get that revelation at the very end of the movie. It's like, oh, that's what he's been doing. That's what this is, and that's why this machine does this. Why the machine that I think it's called the brain, I think?
The brain is it's what he it was the intelligence he had to put in the machine.
That's right.
To replicate stuff.
Yeah. So, feel like the movie gives you all these amazing clues, and and you find at the very end of the film, it's like, this is what's going on. And I was like, okay, I didn't catch it at first. I mean, I caught it, and I was like, whoa, this was genius, the way they did this. So, yeah, it's the I guess it'd be the molding of minds from one. Molding of multiple minds from one.
Mm-hmm.
And, I thought it was very clever. What is your number 3?
My third like for this is the introduction, basically, of magic into this world. Which, technically, that is what the button is doing.
Yeah.
Because the Sack Boys, and I'm sorry I don't have a better name for them than that, but the Sack Boys are basically brought to life. They were first sown by the scientists, and they were brought back to life basically through dark magic and him cutting up his soul to appear to be, put into each one of these little puppets.
Yeah.
Sack Boy puppet things. And it's got out, he draws all the device he does this with. Has alchemical symbols on it, which alchemy is somewhat where we get chemistry from.
Yes.
Or we grew out of that, much the same way that astronomy grew out of astrology. Once you start taking all the weird stuff out of it. But the bringing in of that in such a way that, on one hand, I thought, this is just kind of weird, but it helped. Here's the thing. We are Christians.
Yes.
Despite how things look to our physical eyes and our physical understanding, we both are aware that this is a supernatural. There's a supernatural along with the regular, right?
Yes.
This film could have easily gone with, just pure science and men's, the standard science fiction issues of man's hubris, bringing about the destruction of the world and, yada, 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 that whole thing. And yet, it's like, that was part of it, but obviously this scientist was doing a little bit more than just pure science. He had studied some other things, and that's probably why he was able to get a fully functioning AI in 1940s-ish time. And they did say that the thing he forgot he did not do and he regretted was not putting his humanity into the machine, because it was a brilliant, intelligent, but it just had no soul, basically.
Yeah, and it would literally could be corrupted by anybody who had evil intentions. And he did. Yeah,
which is exactly what happened. So, admittedly, I'll have some more to say about this when we get to dislikes, but the fact that that's kind of what this was technology and spirituality coming together, I thought made for an interesting world. Now, granted, this is what happens when you don't have God in your world. It becomes very dark and depressing.
Very true.
So, that's my third and final like.
Gotcha.
So, we do need to go into dislikes then.
Yes.
What is your first dislike?
My first dislike, it's kind of promoted as a children's film, but it is so much not.
It is not a children's film. I would not watch this. Well, I might watch it with children.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly certain that the age of the youngest I would allow to watch it is going to be like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Basically. Maybe 9.
Maybe 9.
It depends on the kid, of course.
But yes. But it's I can, because I remember seeing the marketing for this and it was like, okay, this is an interesting film. I never saw it. And then it's like trying to figure out movies for reviewing this year, and I saw 9. I was like, you know what? I remember something about this. This sounds like an interesting film. And it's definitely not for kids. So, yeah. Because you're going to see bodies, you're going to see death, a lot of death of some pups.
A lot of dark. Like, I would put this in the same vein in terms of quality, in terms of audience, as Black Cauldron.
Oh, yeah.
That age group. Yeah, that movie wasn't really made for kids either.
No, I agree. It's got that same kind of texture and feel of like the 1980s for Disney. Be like they were trying to experiment with things, and they went really, really dark with Black Cauldron. It took them a long time to do this film, but we reviewed Black Cauldron, so go check it out in our feed wherever you listen to your podcast. But this film, like, it seemed like they were trying to market it towards children, and that is the wrong audience to shoot this thing for. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I think it would be, like, more marketing. They should have...
I have to wonder if the marketing team actually watched the film. I know you probably don't always have the chance to, but I do kind of wonder. This is definitely not a kid's film.
No, it's not. So that's my first dislike. Not for kids.
My first dislike for this is the animation specifically on the Sackboys.
Oh, really?
Well, here's the thing. They are... I say the animation. It's mostly... Grant, I know they're dolls.
Yes.
And my initial thought when I see that is Toy Story, of course. Yes. That's what I compare it to, because those are toys that they had to animate in 95 before a lot of these tools were in place. For the most part, they move fine. Yes. It's not really the animation, I guess, itself. It's the textures on the Sackboys and Sackgirl, technically. Yes. But it's most prominently... It most probably hit me with 9 himself. Okay. Because his body is made out of looks like a potato sack. It's got a very rough threads, for very, very thick threads with being able to see through it. Yeah. The problem is the spacing between those threads feels like it's part of his skin also, even though you should be able to... It should not feel like that's like it's a solid piece, the holes and the thread. Yeah. It feels like it's a solid piece. The way they stretch the threads does not feel right. Okay. For cloth. That's probably what it comes down to. Cloth simulation is not very good in this film, despite the fact all our main characters are made from cloth. Yeah. So yeah, that's really that's probably the biggest thing I have against this, and the thing that kind of took me out of this very quickly was the fact that most of the cloth simulation on this felt like it was 5 years older than the film. Possibly. And not in such a way that, they've been working on the movie for 5 years, and this was the way it started. I mean, it felt like this is how it looked when they were doing the animatics, and they never upped the quality of it to make it feel better. I know part of that is they're probably trying to match the look and feel of the original short film, which I did not go back and watch, so I can't comment on that. Okay. But that's my assumption of why it's kind of the way it is, and it's just the more I watched it, the more I kept thinking, that's just not really moving like I think it ought to. Now, granted, the little apertures on the eyes, perfect.
Yeah.
Don't change that. There was so much expression in all the characters' eyes that really sold these characters more than anything else, in my opinion.
Fair.
But it's just the way these characters moved. It felt too stiff, for lack of a better term. Like maybe they had too much stuffing, and that was causing them to move too stiffly, and then the textures weren't really stretching like I thought they were supposed to. That's really what it comes down to. So. What's your second dislike?
My second dislike is, so we get 9, we get a bunch of personality from him, but everybody else, they're kind of like one-note kind of characters. Feel like you have one who's grumpy, you feel like he's very, oh my gosh, we gotta stay safe, and blah, blah, blah. But you really don't get a whole lot of, like...
You got grumpy, you got dopey, you got artsy, not artsy stuff. You got, I can't think of what you'd call the two researcher guys.
Yeah.
Smarty and Lights, because he was the one who was the main projector.
Right. But either or.
Bright. He's bright.
Okay, he's bright.
That's a bad joke.
Yes, it's a bad joke. But, like, for the most part, you get all the personality coming out of 9, and everybody else is kind of like, they're there. Like, they do have kind of personalities, but you really don't get to see them much because our main focus is on 9 because he's the main character. So I really wish we would have got more personality. But like, yeah, we do get to know them a little bit. We don't get to know who they are as characters because 9 is brand new. He doesn't know the world. And all these other characters, all they are is like, they're supposed to be, parts of this man's soul, like parts of his personality. But we really don't get that fleshed out because there again, this movie clicks. It goes along really fast. It
is amazing how fast this film is. Like,
it is.
It's an hour and 20 minutes, yes, but it doesn't feel an hour and 20 minutes.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
But, yeah, which the only reason that didn't make my like list is because I thought that would sound, like, really bad for it, and I didn't want it to. Yeah. Anyway, my second dislike for this, I don't know how to explain this very well, but it's like the mechanics of how the magic worked didn't entirely gel with me.
Okay.
Honestly, in some strange way, at some point I thought maybe all 9 of these things were supposed to sacrifice themselves eventually to the monster that would put the scientist's soul in the machine, and then it would be a good machine. It kind of felt like it was going that way for a bit, and and we were telling the story of these 9 sacrificial characters, and the horror story behind, how was it like to live when your only reason for living is to be ground up in the machine. I kind of thought it was going that way, but then it wasn't, because 9 was going to be the one, is basically Sackboy Jesus in this, for lack of a better term, because he's the chosen one, who's been given the knob, and he's the one who's going to take down the machine. Couldn't you have given... First off, how did you know 9 would be the one who was capable of doing this? How does this magic work in such a way where you actually knew maybe what was going into each one?
Yeah.
Why didn't you give it that in 1 instead of 9? So chosen 1. But, and lastly, why does 9 wake up so much later than the other 8?
Because he was created last.
The other 8 appeared to be awake during the destruction.
Apparently.
Because 1 saves all of them and gets them to the church. 9, on the other hand, because we have no idea how long this takes place after, when everything went to pot.
Yes.
He could have woke up 3 days later or 3 centuries later for the amount of difference it makes.
True.
Why was he delayed when 1 through 8 were all alive?
Good question.
That's my question. The reasoning behind it doesn't make sense. Now, Grant, we see that it's his last... 9 was the scientist's last act, the creation of 9, because Larry, that was the last of his soul, and he fell over dead, and he had time at least to be reduced to a skeleton in terms of decomposition.
Right.
By the time 9 wakes up. But why was there so much of a delay on him when 1 through 8 were running around while bombs were falling? That's my question.
Fair enough.
And it's that those logical inconsistencies with the magic and the stuff is kind of just, it raised more questions than I would have liked.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's my number 2 dislike. What's your third?
My third dislike of this film, it's too short. The length of it's way too short. I mean, like, they're going to be like, this movie is so jam-packed. Like a certain film I watched earlier this week, I'll get into my watching later, but this movie is so jam-packed with just information trying to throw at you, and to me, it seems like it needed time to breathe, because it's just going at this clip,
breakneck speed.
But like, it's trying to get to the very end. Be like, it's a very flowing movie, but I really wish they would have had just taken some time, got to know our characters even more, and got to flesh out the world a little bit more, and give us a little more ambiance of what's going on, really, instead of it's like, oh, let's just plow through this at breakneck at a lightning speed. And I wish they would have slowed down and took their time and made like an hour 35 minutes instead of hour 18 minutes. Give the movie some time to breathe and open it up, like what people say, like a bottle of wine, and just let it breathe. And this movie didn't have time to breathe. You didn't have it as an audience member had time to breathe with this movie. So, yes, it needed more time to develop its story out. It just didn't have it.
I'd agree with that. Snake, that was the other thing, because it was using 2's body to charm. I just now realized what the other animal was.
Oh, okay.
Mechanical animal. Anyway. Hiss. Anyway. The third dislike I have for this film, you can just tell by watching this was Shane Hacker's first full-length film. It just, you can kind of tell he's got the mentality of a filmer who's used to doing shorts.
Right.
That's not a bad thing.
No.
But, and I've seen this in a lot of other stuff where they're used to making shorter films, and then they have to try and adapt this thing to feature length, and it never quite feels right. It's like they don't know what to... They have all this... Do you remember the Twilight Zone episode where the guy wants to read, but he never gets a chance to because it's so busy at the bank and all this, and he goes and he tries to sneak into the bank vault to get a few minutes of patience on his lunch break to read, an atomic bomb goes off, and he comes out, he's the only person left alive?
I remember the story.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this feels like. It's like this guy, this director's been wanting to direct like something, and he's so used to doing it this one way that he's given the opportunity, and at the first time he gets it, he steps on his glasses, like the guy does in that, because he's trying to do he's used to having to cram so much into such a little space. In terms of shorts, he's got an hour and a half ish to play with, and he continues cramming stuff in like it's a 5-minute short, except it's an hour and a half long. And it's not that there's like a ton of stuff, it's just that pacing is so fast that you never get, like you said, you don't get the chance to breathe.
Fair.
There's so many little things that if you do have to be watching this film. This is not one you can pull up your phone and be looking on Facebook while it's going. Yeah. If you need to look away from the screen, you do have to pause. And the bad thing about that is sometimes what's going on screen is not important enough to really, it doesn't feel like it's pulling you in that much, at least for me anyway.
Fair.
there's some stuff that goes on. It's like, okay, it's just two of these ragdoll guys or sack boys talking, and it's like, okay, I get that. I'm sure there's some great animations on the faces and such, because I mean, like I said earlier, the animation on the eyes is superb.
Agreed.
But by the time you get to a point where the film really should give you a second to
doesn't
process, to let you see soak in the atmosphere, it moves on to the next thing without even really feeling like it finished. It gives you a bad sense of timing in a way. It does everything that... Okay, we reviewed Boss Baby a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
A couple of months
ago now.
I think, I don't remember if we brought it up then, but I think one of the issues I think we both had was that film doesn't stop and breathe.
No, it doesn't.
It is one joke after another, and sometimes the jokes don't even work.
Agreed.
This, strangely enough, has the same problem. It does. It moves from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, and it's like, you don't have to have that many things. Give me you got 4 monsters you're bringing in to fight, basically. You probably could have reduced that down to 2.
Yes.
You could have not had the pterodactyl, because that pterodactyl really didn't add much. You could have had the cat monster, the snake monster, and the main monster. Yeah, and that would work in a 3-act structure. But you could have easily worked your story in around that, where it didn't feel like... It felt like you had time to get to know all these characters. That's the thing. We have a cast of 9 principal characters. The problem is, from what I looked up, 9 and 2 are the ones that were from the short.
Yeah.
1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 were created for the film.
Makes sense.
2 is the only other one besides 9 who feels like he has character development, and that's because it's literally taking the character development from the short and using it here.
Fair.
Everyone else, like you said, one-note characters. The reason they're one-note characters, we don't have time to get to know them.
Very true.
I mean, the only interesting thing we learn is that 8 is apparently addicted to magnets.
Yes. That was oddly interesting, though.
It was interesting, because it's like, oh, he's getting high off magnetism. That, in a strange way, makes sense.
Yes.
How do you explain that to a kid? But that's like the only real interesting quirk. You got 6 who's just drawing the same symbols over and over and over again, which are the ones that are on the knob. You've got 7 who is the tough kick butt woman who don't need no sack boy. You've got 8, like, yeah, he's interested in magnetism, sure, but he's definitely the muscle.
Yes.
And it really feels like you get to 3 and 4, and it feels like they added them because they needed to fill those numbers, and they really didn't know what to do with them. That's why they didn't cast them. That's why they're silent characters. It's like, we have no idea what we're doing with these characters, but we need them to explain we need them there for the scene where we explain who the monster is.
Yes.
And explain what all this other stuff is, so that you can see how all this goes down. And I'm like, and that's pretty much their role. 1, at the very least, is an antagonist, because and we do get at least some good from him, but I have no idea how much of that is writing, or how much of that is the actor. Because my brain just died again. Can't think of his name. Christopher Plummer.
Yes.
Christopher Plummer did such a good job with the character that let's face it, Christopher Plummer could read names out of a phone book. Not that anyone knows what that is anymore. And make it entertaining. But yeah, I'm convinced that wasn't because of the reason any interesting thing in his character was there because of him, because of Christopher Plummer, not because of the writing. Because the writing was basically, I saved everyone a couple years ago. I'm an old man and ornery, and I'm actually too scared to go out and face these things, or too scared to go out and face these things. Basically, that's not much of a character, but it really feels like you can feel the just the fact that he went out and saved everyone. You can actually kind of feel that in his acting.
Yes,
that affected it. But really, the writing never doesn't really push that any outside of one flashback scene, which feels like it was added after they heard him deliver the speech and thought, oh, we need something to actually show that. Makes you wonder how much of this maybe have been planned. And I don't know. It's just like I said, this feels like this is like I said, written and directed by this guy. Feels like it's the first time he ever wrote and directed anything feature length. He had to get 2 other people to help him. I'm guessing they're script doctors.
Possibly.
More than anything else.
Yeah.
And they do kind of fix, I'm assuming, some things that are wrong with the film, because otherwise I don't feel some of these more story bits would be in there.
Maybe.
But a lot of it does feel like he wrote it as he took the short, expanded it, threw in a bunch of stuff, and maybe in his mind it's still that short. He's still trying to protect his vision. I get that. I'm an artist. I understand what it's like having a vision for something, getting the chance to expand on it. You want to make sure your vision is still present in the expanded version, but maybe you're too close to the artwork to see the flaws. Yeah. That's why you had to have somebody else look at it.
Been there.
And I really do, to some degree, feel like, maybe he should have worked on something that was less his baby first before he made this.
Fair.
That's probably the biggest thing. It's like, because this, you can tell this was his baby, and he maybe babied it a little too much. Yep. And I blame that on it being his first real full feature-length film. And his only feature-length film, according to IMDb. And I'm afraid he babied it too much. And that's I would say that would be my biggest issue with this.
That makes sense, actually.
I wish Tim Burton since Tim Burton did produce this thing, I kind of wish he'd have actually looked at worked on the script and maybe fleshed out some more things. Because at least when Tim Burton does one-note stuff, as he has a tendency to do with one-note characters, like he has a tendency to do, they're at least still interesting. So, either way.
True.
That was our third and final like, and I kind of went on a little bit of a rant-ish in there, but not really a rant master. So, yeah. What are you rating this film?
Well, I want to hear yours first.
You would do that.
I would.
I'm giving it a 7.
Oh, okay.
It's well animated. It's not really a bad film. It's just not a great film. It's not... It's an okay. That's the thing. I would put it at okay. It's just... And the thing is... the atmosphere, as much as it's well done, and I can appreciate it as an artist... This is not my thing.
Fair.
And that may be why I'm a little harsh on it. It's just not my kind of thing. I get why some people might like this. I also understand why this did not make as big a splash as anyone hoped. So yeah, I'm giving it a 7.
I'm giving it 8.5. It'd be like, I really enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed the characters for the most part. 9 is the character you primarily focus on, and then you get, I think it's the character who pops up in the middle of the film. The other the female character.
Oh, Jennifer 7.
Yeah, 7. Jennifer
I think it's 7.
Overall, I really enjoyed this film, but like, it's got flaws. Be like, I really wish it would have been. They stretched it out a little bit more, and be like, they're gonna be like, Drew gave her some good points where it was, the director himself, is primarily a shorts director, and that's what he's known for. So
that's what he's done.
That's what he's done.
Admittedly, the shorts I saw in there, the only one I recognized was the one this was based on. So
gotcha. So he doesn't have a lot of experience with that. So, like, I think if you were talking about the quote unquote script doctors that would have come in and tried to help flesh out the story a little bit more. And the story is fleshed out a little bit more, but I really wish they would have expanded a little bit more. But again, the movie goes at a neck break face, and like, I enjoy the film. It's got flaws, but yeah, it's so very well done, very well executed kind of film, and I enjoy it. So yeah, it's an 8.5.
All right, that brings us to the end of the review. Join us on the other side of the break, and we'll get to talking about what we've been watching.
Whoa. What movie are we watching next?
Good question.
Yes,
because we actually have to go to the internet for this.
Yes, we do.
Let me bring that up. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, since starting last year, we started re-reviewing our scenes, our episodes from the first year, because we've changed our format since then.
Yes.
And we picked 3 films we wanted to do this year. It had to be 3 because of somebody's needing to take some time off. Somebody.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, no idea. So we only are doing 3 this year. And we took it down to either being the Transformers the movie, Anastasia, and Your Name. We're going to review those 3 films this year. But we let you, the listeners, pick what we were reviewing. So if you're in our Facebook group, the Cell Nation, you had your pick between these. And we had a grand total of 17 votes. And next week, by a percentage point, because I would like to say, because see, here's the thing. Anastasia and Transformers the movie, technically, are tied vote-wise.
Wow.
But be percentage-wise, which is what I'm going off of, because we had an odd number, Transformers the movie wins at 42%.
Woo!
So join us next week as we watch an Orson Welles film.
Last performance.
Technically.
Yes.
Anyway, like I was saying earlier, join us after the break. We'll talk about what we've been watching, the news, and some info. I know, some Neon Genesis Evangelion, where I get to talk about how much I hate a man.
It's understandable.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out The Untold Podcast. The Untold Podcast is a speculative fiction podcast utilizing the genres of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, among others, in order to engage the culture's imagination from a Christian worldview. Every month, Nathan James Norman produces and narrates a new story presented in a unique and dynamic way. Check out The Untold Podcast at theuntoldpodcast.com to listen and leave them a review on Apple Podcasts. The Cellcast would also like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com, and Edwin Gonzalez. If you would like to have your name read out on the show, some exclusive art from Jacob. I need to word that correctly, otherwise you're in trouble. And it will be my fault.
Yes. Don't get me in trouble.
Some exclusive art from Jacob, uncut episodes, plus first run animated series episodes for a limited exclusivity on the Patreon, all for just $5. And then if you want to pay us $10, you can actually force us to review something within limitations. So go to the Patreon if you want to be involved with that.
Yeah, and stay tuned for those.
Stay tuned to the news segment for our announcement of our first what we're calling TAS extras.
Yes.
Which technically we already did one, but beside the point. So, Jacob, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? So Monday afternoon, get back from work, and I'm like, you know what? I want to watch a movie. I haven't seen. I sat down and actually watched the movie besides reviewing for the podcast. And I kept a friend of mine, Stevie, who was in the chat a little while ago. Thank you, Stevie. Had mentioned Dune Part 1 over and over again.
Did you finally watch Dune Part 1?
Yes, I finally watched Part 1.
So how did you like the first 3/4 of the original Dune, but done better?
It was great.
Did you understand what was going on this time?
I did. Here's the thing. It is a great film. It is long. And
it's only half the story.
I know. Here's my point.
The other half isn't the beginning of March.
The dialogue. It's like, it's so heavy. You're scooping up with a forklift.
Yes.
It's so incredibly dense.
Yes.
And I'm like, wait a minute. What in the world just happened? Oh, okay. Get it. Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. Oh, okay. Here.
This is what happens when you transcribe the book into the movie.
Yes.
Because some of that dialogue, I could be wrong, I think is word for word, and it's meant to be a touch inscrutable.
Yes. So here's the thing. So you have our main character, Paul
Atreides,
Paul Atreides,
who will become Paul Muad'Dib.
Spoiler alert!
That doesn't tell you nothing. You don't even know what a Muad'Dib is.
I know, whatever. But be like, you have characters like Paul, who just normally will say a normal conversation with like his mother, who's a witch, I think, right?
Yes, she actually is one of the witches.
Okay, she's a witch. And be like, you have this
Except
conversation
this is not a bad thing.
Yes,
in this universe.
Mm-hmm. So be like, you have Paul talking with his mother, Paul talking with his father, who's the king, Duke. That's right, Duke. And then you have other characters like Jason Momoa, who talks like Jason Momoa. Is like really, I loved his performance. His performance. And then you have other characters who walk around.
Duncan Idaho, that was his name. The character's name.
What?
Duncan Idaho.
Yeah, that's right. Duncan Idaho. Duncan. Dunkin' Donuts or Duncan from Masters Universe. Either or. And then you have characters who have normal. Sound like there's just a normal human being having dialogue, right? Then you have other characters who sound like they're just saying something from a sonnet or a poem or something like that. And it's just like, what in the world?
And then there's Zendaya.
Yeah.
Or whatever her name is in this, because I never remember. I just know it's his girlfriend.
Yes. Which, so the whole thing of, if you haven't seen Dune Part 1, it's available on Netflix. So if you haven't watched it, like this goober right here, go watch it on Netflix. So,
admittedly, you had the taste of the original film in your mouth, and it was not a taste you liked.
No, it wasn't. So this movie in particular,
it did not have the correct spice.
Oh my gosh! Thank you. They did like the entire time, the entire movie. The spice must flow. The entire freaking movie.
I'm waiting for that to be in the second movie.
Yeah,
because honestly, that's kind of where that ends up being a major point.
Mm-hmm. Either or. There's the idea that Paul can see, he can see the future. He's not telepath, but he can see the future. He's like, he can project the future or something like that. And so there's all this thing with Zendaya's character, and it's like, then
the worms.
And the worm, whatever. Yeah, the worms.
The worms.
Yeah, be like, it's great. Do not get me wrong.
You can tell where Tremors got its ideas from.
Yes. So
how they didn't get sued out of existence is beyond me.
True. Man, these are really small worms and big, enormous worms that can.
Have you seen images of the collector's popcorn bucket for Dune Part 2?
No.
It's get the regular bucket stuff, right?
Yeah.
And the topper for the bucket is a Dune worm.
Oh,
which means you have to reach down past its teeth to get
no, and no. Thank you. Give me a regular popcorn pocket stat. I'm not sticking my hand down a worm's throat.
The butter must flow.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. No. I guarantee this goober will probably go get one.
No,
probably.
I'm not.
Really?
Look, I don't. I am not the kind of person who's going to stick his hand down anything's throat to get snacks. I don't care if it's plastic.
Oh my gosh.
I would take the lid off. Look, I have this nice Groot cup.
Yes.
With a straw coming out of his head.
Yeah.
So you could drink from him while you're watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And you want to know what I didn't do?
Drink from it.
Right. I had them say, can I get the cup, but then bring me my soft drink in a regular glass? They said, sure. So yeah, Groot here's never seen liquid.
Oh, that's too funny.
So I wasn't going to drink from him like like Riker drank from Troy in that episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Okay.
You don't want to know.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to know.
It was a dream sequence.
Ah, okay. So
Data's dream sequence.
Okay.
The android who shouldn't be dreaming had dreams.
All right then.
Moving on.
Yes, moving right along.
Dig-a-doom.
So I watched Dune Part 1 on Netflix. I enjoyed it. There was a little bit of like, okay, this is a lot of information to take in. And the second one's coming out when?
Beginning of March.
It's
like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Which means I need to get on and rewatch the first one because it's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
Since I saw the first Dune Part 1, I should say.
So it's available on Netflix for the rest of this month. So go watch it before the next movie comes out. So yeah, that's about the only thing I've watched besides listening to podcasts walking from here to there. So yeah, good movie.
So, what have I been watching?
Or playing.
It might be more playing because I've not been doing much watching. I have been watching a couple things on YouTube, actually. I have recently discovered a channel called Breadsword.
Breadsword. Okay.
That's his name. He makes these very long film video essays.
Okay.
And all the ones I've found so far have been cartoons, or animation related. I saw one on, what was the name of that movie? Robin Hood, which was very interesting because he went and watched every other Robin Hood film in order to draw direct comparisons to how this was not only one of the best Robin Hood films, but also the last one where they weren't trying to make it realistic.
Gotcha.
And how after that they tried making Robin Hood darker and grittier and grounding him and trying to make it more realistic.
Okay.
Which very rarely works.
Mm-hmm.
And how nice would it be if we just had another fun Robin Hood film?
True.
And then, before you came over here, I was watching one on Lupin the Third, Castle of Cagliostro. Go check out our review on that because it's a good film.
It is.
And he pointed out he was talking about legacy with that one because along with going all the way back, of course, to Maurice LeBlanc's Arsène Lupin, Gentleman Burglar.
Yes.
He also went into the fact that that Castle Cagliostro is literally the defining moment of the entire Lupin the Third franchise because nearly every other film in the series is pretty much being measured up to, at least by the creators, to this film.
Fair.
And going into how it fits in with the rest of the Lupin the Third franchise, which basically comes down to after the episode ends, everything resets, and that's fine. You don't always need lots of continuity, unless you think it'd be fun to reference continuity.
Yes.
We need more of that in our lives, folks.
Yes.
I'm just saying that. I love big, expansive continuity. Do not get me wrong. But it would be nice just to turn on something and not have to feel like I need to do homework to like what I'm watching.
Yes.
So, other than that, I've been playing Persona 3 Reload still because that's a very long game and I'm going to be on it a while. Just finally figured out how the robot fits into this. Kind of.
Kind of.
Yes. But other than that, that's what I've been watching and playing, and why don't we get into the news?
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Deela. Now, kind of a note, I really wish we could do this and actually just show the trailer on the screen with audio, but I don't know.
But we will do the next best thing.
Yes.
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
And everything that Xavier made is now his.
Previously on X-Men.
Yeah.
So
Actually, I could probably... No, I took that off. I'm going to have to put it back on. Spoilers.
yes. So if anybody who had a freaking heartbeat, I think 2 days ago or yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Marvel Animation Studios.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Released the teaser trailer for X-Men 97.
With a release date of March 20th.
Yes!
Which, if I'm not mistaken, I think is a Saturday. No, it's not. It's a Wednesday. Sorry.
Wednesday. Okay.
I was so hoping this was a Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh, that'd been epic.
Disney Plus, I will accept you pushing this back 3 days to the 23rd at 7 in the morning. I will accept that, because if there's one thing we need back in our world today, it's Saturday morning cartoons.
Agreed.
So this would have been the perfect time for it, since it started off as a Saturday morning cartoon.
Anyways, so yes, it is official. The official Marvel Studios, Marvel Animation Studios YouTube channel has surpassed, I think it's like 4.3 million views of this one teaser trailer.
Yes.
And
it's a good trailer.
It's so good. So good. Be like our social medias were flighting up like no one's business. There again, people be like, Drew sent me a link to, I think it was like the teaser poster.
I sent you to the trailer. I put here's my story.
Okay.
Here's not really much of a story. I am I'm at work and I'm going in to use the restroom. Mm-hmm. And I can tell I might be a minute. Mm. Okay, that's all I'm going to say that.
Fair.
But I pull out my phone while I'm taking care of business.
Yes.
And go to Facebook. And literally the first thing I see is a row of VHS tapes. With the words X-Men 97 streaming March 20th. And I immediately shared that to the Facebook page and said, we have a date.
Yes.
And then I got done with my business and went back to work.
And then,
only for like minutes later, my phone starts exploding. And then I found a way to see why it was exploding, sent you the trailer, and said,
God,
I think we may have to do this as an extra TAS.
Yes.
And it was not until after that I realized,
gosh,
maybe we ought to do this as a timed Patreon exclusive.
Exactly.
We're still discussing the time, but
we're getting details out.
Basically, I'm thinking it's going to be after we get done with the last episode, whenever it releases.
Yes.
3 months from that point is when we'll release the whole thing to the main feed. But until that point, it will be on our Patreon. So, it's $5, folks, to hear us talk about our childhoods.
Yeah.
And see if they ruin it.
Yeah. So, I have a question for you. What did you think about the trailer? Because I watched it 5 times.
I watched it a couple times. Most of it, admittedly, first time I watched it, I had my phone muted. So all I had was visuals and closed captioning.
Oh, jeez.
Which is half this thing. Yes! And I'm thinking, okay, this is cool and all. I'm liking the animation. It's got a little bit of that modern CG, 2D CG kind of jank. So it's not fully from that.
Agreed.
But, for the most part, it's good. And then I went to lunch. And I thought, I ought to watch that again with the sound on, just so I can hear voices and such. Literally all my thinking. And, he gets done with the last time on X-Men segment, basically. And you start hearing those notes. And I'm going, and I'm like, okay, this is starting to sound good. This is getting good. And I'm like 5 years old again in the truck, in the driver's seat of my truck, going. I'm like, okay, this looks like it's going to be fun.
Oh my gosh!
The only issue is Cal Dodd, who's the voice of Wolverine, is not quite doing the voice he did in the 90s. He's close. He's very close.
It's 30 years ago.
His voice has changed a little.
A little bit, but he still sounds like Wolverine.
He still sounds like Wolverine. It's just the first time I heard it, I went, whoa. That's not quite a match, but that's close enough for me.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, I was watching and going, it's cleaner than
season 5?
Well, it's cleaner actually than seasons 1 through 4 too.
True.
It's cleaner than the old cartoon as you would expect it to be, but man, does it kind of have that, does it have that look, does it have that feel? There's only like a couple spots where it's like, okay, yeah, this is modern because, you can't actually animate that way. You couldn't animate that way in the 90s.
True.
But you're still going through and seeing like designs from the 90s.
Yeah.
but being animated like this, and I'm going, this is so cool.
And apparently there's some homages to Pride of the X-Men.
We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. So might be like I saw the trailer and immediately, because they're gonna be like, you work in a grocery store, you can go to the back. So I'll be like, I see it and I was like, I gotta watch this. So go to the back and instantly they start playing the theme and it's just air guitar the entire time. And it's just, oh my gosh. Like all these little build-ups is like what would be like the Scott and Jean, that whole
Jean's pregnant!
Jean's pregnant!
I'm like,
I wonder who the kid is.
Which child? Which of the 30 Scott and Jean children is this going to be?
Or Madeline Pryor.
Is it Madeline Pryor?
Is it Madeline Pryor? We don't know.
Hey, Bishop is here.
Yeah.
If this goes like the original show did, if Bishop's here, he's here to fix something that got screwed up.
Yeah.
Which tells me maybe what we saw at the end of season 5 is the final fate of Xavier getting shot into space with his space girlfriend. Maybe not have happened in this version, or may got immediately changed.
Who knows?
Because, that's words, what is it? The casket.
Yeah,
that casket looked a little too foreboding for it to be a fake thing being lowered into the ground.
Fair.
So
I'm watching this. Be like, you're getting little characters here and there. Be like, you hear a new voice for Scott, because obviously the original voice actor passed away in 2000.
Unfortunately, but he sounds close.
He sounds really close to Scott Summers. And then you get the original voice for Wolverine. You get this and this and this. Obviously, it's 30 years later, and you get this great line and be like, to me, my X-Men from Scott.
And like, and you're like, yes!
There we go. And you got the theme just revving the entire time. And like, you get these great setups. You get Wolverine and Gambit combo. I was like, what the crap is this?
And he
kinetically
charges the claws. I'm going, doesn't that mean they're about to explode? Did you just kill Wolverine to fight what I'm assuming is a Sentinel?
It's Wolverine. He's invincible, and plus his claws are invincible.
I know, but still, I'm like, before I understood how this was just empowering potential energy, I just assumed he touched things and made them explode. And I'm sorry, that's how I view it still in my head.
Fair.
Is Wolverine going to survive the Sentinel episode because he had to team up with Cajun? Who, yes, thankfully they reversed the stupid decision in season 5 to have Gambit have the white eyes, and they gave him back black eyes with red corneas. Red irises.
Red irises.
That was so dumb.
Oh yeah.
I know he doesn't look right, but it looks like him.
So be like, you get all these amazing scenes. You get the opening logo come in. It's different than the original, obviously, because you're doing 30 years later. Yeah, and then be like
So I will be. The nostalgic part of me will be happy as if the opening is literally just the opening from X-Men the Animated Series, but newly animated. Some changes. Since, you can't really have Xavier going against X-Men
because he's not there.
Magneto in the last shot, and Magneto is technically maybe on our side if they're doing that story.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. So there's going to be some differences, but it's like, I don't want this to be X-Men 97. I want this to be X-Men Season 6.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
That's what I want.
That's what it sounds like.
And the way you do that, to keep it clear in my mind, don't put the 97 on the title card in the show. Put it on marketing materials. I get that. Show itself, the original show never called it X-Men the Animated Series. It was just X-Men. Let's just keep it X-Men. Anyway.
But, oh my gosh. So when you get the big reveal that Magneto is now in control of everything, and like you get to see Jean pregnant, you'll be like, obviously it's a very homage scene, because if you know the comics, like the Jim Lee era, like this guy does. Be like, you get this amazing shot where they all come in, and it's like, wait a minute, that's from this scene. Oh my gosh. Yes, bring it. I am so excited, because obviously we're going to do
we're doing it, I guess, like we said, we're doing a X-Men extra TAS extra. That's what we're calling it. And we are going to do it on Patreon, timed exclusively. So all you gotta do is $5. In fact, I noticed Retro is in the chat. He's getting it for $5.
Yeah,
He doesn't have to do anything
exactly.
except download the episode and listen to it. Not that he will.
Come on, Roy.
Just saying he's behind on everyone's podcasts.
It happens.
But anyway,
we appreciate everything that people do for our Patreon.
I'm just giving people hard times.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes, I'm super excited to hear this, see this. I was giddy most of yesterday, and I was like, oh my gosh, you got to watch this. That's literally, I had a coworker who's literally around my age. And I was like, hey, do you remember X-Men? It's like, yeah, there's a new series coming out. It's like, what? Show the trailer. It's like, oh my gosh. Yes. People are excited. People our generation are excited. And probably some kids that are children younger than us. And probably adults that are a little bit older than us are like, heck yeah, bring it. So yes, March 30th on Disney Plus, we're getting X-Men 97.
20th.
20th. Sorry. Yeah.
It sounded like you said 30th, and I could have misheard.
I probably said 30th. I meant to say 20th.
No worries.
Nuance. So, yes, get ready, because this is going to be lit. Let's go.
Welcome her. Wait, she's not joining the X-Men, is she? She's just a kid. Wolverine.
You never know. Shadowcat might show up.
Oh, my
Or
God.
will she be Sprite?
Sprite?
That was her original name.
I didn't know that. I don't know there's Shadowcat.
Yeah, when she originally joined the X-Men, she was known as Sprite.
Wow.
I wonder if Coca-Cola Company made them change the name.
That's like, well, in Pride of the X-Men, like, Kitty Pryde was there, and also, what was the dragon?
Lockheed.
Lockheed. Yeah, I hope Lockheed shows up.
Well, if, if Colossus.
Yeah, Colossus shows up.
joins his sister.
Yes.
She is more well connected to Lockheed than Kitty Pryde is.
That is true.
Of course, Kitty Pryde falls in love with Colossus. So
That
it's
is
neither
true.
here nor there.
That is true. So we shall see what happens in X-Men 97 when it comes out on the 20th. Not excited at all, but that's all I have for the news that we're getting freaking X-Men 97. Yes. Moving on.
Yeah, and I don't have anything to add to this. So.
I did notice a retro did in the chat. It's like, hopefully he is here to fix Disney owning Fox.
X-Men.
X-Men. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, Fox owning X-Men. Anyways.
Why don't we go ahead
Yeah.
and have some emotional damage? And boy, do we have some this week.
You're not kidding. So buckle up.
Card Captors, a mystic adventure. Card Captors, a quest for all time.
She is the one named Sailor Moon.
Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon.
It's time to do.
Digimon, Digital Monsters, Digimon Darla Champions. Yayo, yayo, ho ho, set sail for One Piece.
Yo, Shinji, get in the robot. Your dad loves you, get in the robot. The cockpit's too small for a grown-up. Kick some butt in your robot. Emotional damage.
Boy, that one line hits entirely differently after today. Your dad does not love you, Shinji. I'm sorry.
Oh, boy.
But before we get to that, by the way, Stephen He did the emotional damage, and the Lost 4 Kids anime opening of Evangelion was done by Eagle 8 Burger. Anyway, everyone else belongs to everyone else.
Yes.
The fourth to be qualified, aka Fourth Child.
Yes.
Directed by Minoru Ohara and written by Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi.
Yes.
As Ava 04, the planned test bed for the S2 engine, disappears under mysterious
I
circumstances,
wonder why.
Nerve quickly prepares the testing of Ava 03 and the selection of its pilot. Meanwhile, Shinji and Toji continue to bond, and Hikari begins to emotionally open herself up to Toji. That's not foreboding in the slightest.
No, it's not.
There is
At
no new
all.
cast in this episode. There is no Angel in this episode.
No. The next episode, though.
And the only other piece of trivia I have for this episode is the version of Fly Me to the Moon at the end of this is Aki, is sung by Aki, and it is a jungle remix. And it is completely out of place at the end of this episode.
It is. You have this very somber episode, and then it's
super dance remix.
remix. Wow. Imagine
this is as bad as the ends of some of those episodes of Tangled, of Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Where, oh, my friend, my best friend in the world has betrayed me. The kingdom is falling into disrepair. The world is coming to an end. I've got the wind in my hair and the fire within.
Yeah, bad timing, Disney, with that one. Bad timing. I was like, wait, what is he going to do? It's like, oh, yeah, that.
It happens so many times.
So many times. Oh, my God.
Because they don't expect anyone to watch credits. Anyways. But yeah, that's the information I've got for this episode. Admittedly, while a lot happens here, I don't know how much to talk about we have on this one.
That is true.
Because we find out, that... Okay, first off, I want to complain.
Okay.
About one thing.
Okay, complain
and it
about
is
something.
the proof that they were starting to run out of money by this point.
Okay.
The first minutes of this episode, after the end credits begin, up to the opening credits end, up to the point where we finally see the title card. How many frames did we have? It's about a minute long.
That's a good question. 4 frames.
We had 4 frames. They literally held on each of these 4 frames with everything being done in dialogue. And let me explain what these are. You have the silhouette of Misato in front of in an orange shot of light. Rest of the screen is black. That's the long one. That one's a good 30 to 45 seconds.
Yeah.
The next shot, black screen. The third shot, Gendo's head, copied from the first episode for 3 seconds, and the fourth shot is the title card.
Yes.
For the episode. 4 frames a minute, despite the fact we were watching at 30 frames a second.
Yes.
I'm just saying they were starting to run out of money and were not only reusing shots, but holding on what shots they had for longer than they needed to.
Yeah.
But it did technically get done. It'd be one thing if I could see her chin, Misato's chin, moving up and down during the time, like the light hitting it.
Yeah.
Because that's a cool shot. Don't get me wrong. But it's like very obvious this is a still photo, and we're holding on this as long as we can get away with it.
Well, yeah, I think even the best animated shows are still going to have shots like that.
Yes,
are going to do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
But this is just this is something I'm aware that this series suffers from, is because they do save a lot of their money for the Ava fights, the Ava Angel fights, which, granted, having it for the next one episode makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
This one, I'm going, y'all held on to this money as tight-fistedly as you could, didn't you? Y'all were running out of film. And granted, I think there's even a couple shots, I don't know if it's in this one or next one, where it is literally a reuse of the command center shot from the first episode.
Yes.
The pan over. Now, granted, they use our stock footage all the time, but it was like painfully obvious. Like, this was the first one. This was in the first episode. Like, if you go over just a little bit farther, you'll see the 3 Japanese military generals sitting in that console.
Yeah.
While Gendo is staring at them like, "What are you doing in my seat?" I see Operation Certain Failure was a certain failure. But anyway, that's my complaint on this one, because most of this episode is them trying not to say who the 4th pilot is.
No.
While it's painfully obvious who the 4th pilot is.
Yes.
Sorry, the 4th children.
4th child.
I hate this term, the 4th children. It's one child. They're all chosen children. He's not the 4th children. He's the 4th child. Sorry. It's an annoyance on my part. I'll get over it.
Yeah.
But most of that is trying to figure that out. Them, Misato not getting up the bravery to go tell Shinji Although, or was that the next episode?
No, it's this episode.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Like,
it starts in this episode.
Yeah, she's trying to find the
right words.
She's trying to find the right words, trying to find some time to tell Shinji, because we know Shinji's sensitive about everything.
Yeah, and I know this is going to also be in the second one, but I love how every time Asuka gets ready to tell Shinji who it is, because she is a jerk.
Yeah,
it's like, you don't know yet? It's like, no, it's like, and right before she says it,
yeah,
it's like she gets
audio cuts out.
She gets cut off every time.
Of course, because it builds tension.
Yeah, and I get that, but
so
it's
good.
Like the minute they said he in reference to the pilot, I went, oh, it's that guy. It's the guy that put Shinji in the 4th episode.
Yes,
that's why he was in the movies, because he's an important of a character. I don't think they ever he doesn't get to be a pilot in the movies.
No, it's someone else.
Yeah, anyway. But yeah, this is...
And they wear a new plug suit, let's say that.
This is not the episode I'm going to be really going off on, because this is literally just set up.
Yeah, all this is set up.
And I'm going to say, the episode just prior to this that we did last week, where they fought
the Shadow?
The Shadow, yeah.
Yeah.
With the Derek C or however it was said.
Uh-huh.
That, from that episode, I think probably is like the end of what I would actually call the filler arc. It's not that there was filler per se, but it really does feel like, this part where we were filling up a couple of episodes so that, we could actually fill out a runtime, even though we're going to drop stuff here, and these are important episodes to watch too, but not important enough for us to actually work into the movies that we'll rebuild later on. It feels like we're definitely past that point, and we're back to, here's answers to questions you've been asking.
Yes.
Except they're raising more questions.
Yes, they are.
It's like, how much is everybody lying to each other? Because I get the feeling only one person knows what's going on, and I hate him after the next episode.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Not that I was happy with him before.
Yes.
But, yeah, what are your thoughts?
I enjoyed their getting set up. We get the guys are completely our three amigos guys, or two of them at least, are kind of clueless what's going on. Everybody else has kind of figured out what's going on. It's oh crap, what's his name? He's selected as pilot.
I just said it a minute ago.
Yes,
Toji.
Yeah, Toji. Toji's selected as the 4th pilot, and then you get the incident in America where the engine disappears
in New Mexico.
And
it blows up. Well, it doesn't blow up.
No, it
disappears. Because it looked like it blew up on the video they showed, and the other guy says, "But it didn't blow up. It just disappeared." I'm like, and how did it disappear on the other side of the planet when the angel that was doing the whole Derek C thing that you talked about was over in Japan?
Yeah.
Why is it here?
Yeah.
Doing stuff?
Yeah.
But then it's non-Euclidean physics. That's all it is.
Yeah. So, like, we get all these amazing setup. We got Masato, who's desperately trying to tell Shinji that who the new pilot is, but it's just like interruption. And then you get this is a great setup because everybody knows except Shinji. And Shinji is probably the one who needs to know because they're good friends.
And yeah.
And then, but like, obviously you get the dummy plug, and
they hinted that. You get another shot of Rey in the test tube,
which is obviously it's feeding something.
Well, considering the machinery above her looks just like a brain.
Yeah. I wonder why. Either or. So this is a great setup.
Hideki Anno is not exactly subtle.
No, he's not. So, this is an amazing setup episode, and then that just immediately leads right into, I think it's the next episode.
Yeah, the next episode. Life and Death Decisions, a.k.a. Ambivalence. Directed by Tensai Okamura and written by Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi. The activation of Ava Unit 3 goes horribly awry.
I wonder why.
When an angel takes control of the unit, with Ava 03 itself redesignated as an angel. Shinji is faced with the moral dilemma of terminating the rogue Evangelion at the risk of harming or killing the pilot trapped within. Until Gendo takes that question out of his hands.
And activates the plug. Oh my!
The dummy plug.
The dummy plug.
Angel appearance. The angel here is named Bardiel.
Bardiel.
We do see a shot of him early on in the episode as a cloud.
Yes.
However, most of the time we see him in this episode is as Ava Unit 3, as he takes complete control of Ava Unit 3 for the rest of this. And somehow, well, I say somehow like I don't already have clues as to what the Avas actually are, but evolves the Ava into an angel?
Somewhat.
In a way?
In a way.
Of course, as we said earlier, Toji, his friend Toji, who punched him in episode, 4?
4.
I believe. He is the fourth child.
He is.
And, but it does not really, they're still trying to play it close to the vest for most of this episode. In fact, he's not even in this episode.
No, he's not.
Except for maybe one shot near the beginning of the episode.
We see him.
We see him, but literally, we never actually see him after that.
Yeah. Minus the very end. The very end,
yeah. So, the lightning display in the thundercloud that was Bardiel, as well as the similarity of Toji's usual attire to Bardiel's host body,
is similar.
Ava 03 foreshadows, along with just about every other hint in these 2 episodes, that he is to be the pilot, and that he will be in grave danger.
Just a little.
The Fly Me to the Moon in this one is an instrumental. With a guitar and a piano, and it's listed as B4.
Makes sense. It's a good ending to a very somber episode.
Except it's still kind of light and airy.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, but it works.
Yes.
This episode, I'm 15 minutes into this episode, and I think that's when the Ava is revealed to be an angel. I think by that point.
Well, they show they're flying over and they go through the cloud. You get the
but that's not when the commercial break eye catch thing was.
That's true.
And that's where I'm trying. That's where I'm thinking.
Sure. Okay.
But because I think that's when you see that the armor comes off slightly, and you see that the muscles on the Ava are bigger. And then you get the explosion,
right?
And then it goes to the title thing that says Neon Genesis Evangelion. That always happens in the middle of the episode when it went to commercial. And then you come back, and of course nobody knows what's going on. The testing site they've lost connection with. They've launched the Avas, and we're all sitting there going, we know who it is.
Except Shinji. Everyone knows who it is.
Asuka, once again, tries to say, you don't know who's in the thing? It's like, well, you just let the woman talk. And Shinji, until the last moments of this episode, does not know it's Toji.
Yeah.
And
that build-up is so good, though.
So this episode, most of where he's after, it takes out Asuka, it takes out Ayanami, and Shinji is like, I'm not going to attack this guy. I'll have to murder the pilot.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that. And Gendo, being Gendo, says, well, blink you, activate the dummy plug. Does it eject Shinji? No! It leaves Shinji in there to watch it destroy this Ava, and this is not a, fire a thing straight through the forehead and it blows up like so many of these other angels.
Yeah.
This is the most brutal death in the series so far. I'm saying so far because I don't know what's coming.
Yeah. It's literally, you see like the Ava go berserk, but it's not going berserk.
Right.
It literally just goes in and starts tearing this unit apart.
Right. And
Shinji's in there time to be like,
he's trying to get me to stop.
Stop.
And it's like, and he's yelling at Gendo, who can still hear him, but Gendo is just not doing anything. And the moment that got me, the moment I was like, maybe he's going to come to his senses. Maybe this is not going to be as bad as I think it's going to be. At some point, the AVA Unit 1 tore out AVA Unit 3's entry plug. And it's holding it, like a beer can that it's about to crush. I'm going, no! You don't do this! This guy was not even on our threat list until the previous episode. We thought he was safe. I was not even sure why these two characters were in the show, other than to give Shinji friends. And I'm going, you get that? Then you get the crunch, and I'm like, ah!
And Gendo does nothing.
I hate you, Gendo.
You're supposed to hate him.
Literally, as soon as that episode got done, I pick up my phone, I click Jacob's name, and I said, well, if I didn't hate Gendo before, and I figured that was enough to tell you what I had just watched.
Oh, yeah. This, I mean, it's so well done. You have Shinji, who is desperately pleading with his father, be like, please make this stop. We can do something else. Don't do this. And he literally just crunch that plug, and it's just like, you heartless bleep.
Because he doesn't care about anybody. He wants, he keeps saying, as long as we have the dummy plugs and we have AVA Unit 1, everything will be fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a feeling that everything's not going to be fine, Gendo. And it's all your fault.
Of course it's his fault. Of course. And it's just so freaking brilliant. And be like, this episode, be like, it's literally, you have our main character, Shinji, it's completely dark what's going on. Like, Masato be like, she's certain to learn. It's like, be like, who do I trust? I can't trust Nerve. I can't trust anybody. Like, who can I trust? And it's just like this buildup of tension. It's like, and then you get the Ava 3's taken over by the Angel. It's like, okay, we got to kill this thing now. And it's just like, what? We can't kill the pilot? And it's just like shit. And be like, and then you go, nope, this is what's going to happen. Be like, attack it, kill it. Can't. And it's like, okay, dummy plug, kill it. And it's just like, shit, man. It's like, you're a freaking monster. You're worse than the Angels. Probably.
So, I ran into another little piece of trivia that I did not bring up. How much do you want to bet that Toji was also infected by Bardiel?
I don't know that much. But I know that
even if we never survive it after, I know we know he survives. The episode at least does not make you wait till the next one to find out.
Yes.
You do at least get that knowledge right at the end of the episode.
Oh yeah,
because
brilliant.
It's right before Shinji learns that Toji was the fourth child.
Yeah,
because the announcement comes, at least on the Netflix version. I'm sure this is the same there, but I'm just being careful. On that version, it does say the other pilot is alive.
Yeah,
and that's when Masato finally comes around and says the other pilot is Toji, and you're going.
She'd be like in the AD, I'd be like, it's literally he's looking down because he's fully conscious of everything, and he's like, and finally Masato's finally like be like, oh, the pilot's alive, we got a heartbeat. And he's like, really? Be like, oh my gosh, he's really alive. And then Masato kicks in, and it's like, I'm so sorry, I've been trying to tell you the entire time. This pilot is and sees Toji, and he loses it.
That's basically what happens here. She still doesn't actually say the name, but he sees that it's Toji. And it's like, I got done with that episode and like, I need to watch something else before I start doing my notes. 'Cause I need to recover. So
just wait till the next episode. It's good.
I have a feeling we're on a wild ride till the end of this thing at this point.
And we're in episode 18?
We just finished 18. I do know that something interesting happens with the ADV cast list on the next episode. Yeah. So, for one episode, and then it goes to something else. But either way, that's going to be the end for us tonight. Next week, along with The Transformers, the movie.
Yes.
We will be watching the episodes A Man's Battle and of the shape of hearts and humans. So join us next week for that. But in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell, with a single L.
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Well, he's definitely not getting out of that plug.